Today, I will begin with round 44. At first, I intended to have the 43 round. However, this 43 round has the contents concerning the pre-life reading as well as the expelling of the obsessing spirit, which the famous spiritual competent person, Mr. An Dong-min, had wrote in his books. I thought that as my whole lecture is concerned with the real and universal truth, it's not appropriate to tell the concrete individual pre-life here. Therefore, I dropped the 43 round. Well, anyway, let's begin with the round 44. The title of today's lecture is The Principle of 공즉색즉공 of Buddhism and the World of Elementary Particles. When we split some material again and again, this material becomes the elementary particles. And in the world of quantum, 양자, quantum, the scientists set up the quantum mechanics, 양자역학, quantum mechanics, which can be understood with the probability ratio. The anti-material changes into the material, and all the things were made by the change of 이기, and 공즉색 or 색즉공 is the infinite truth. What we think, act, and speak are all recorded in our spiritual body, and a person's pre-life can be recognized with the hypnotism, 최면술, hypnotism. Well, first of all, let's see about the more detailed outlook of the transcendental religion. First, the theory of 공즉색, 색즉공. It means void and things are the same. And the relationship between me and the universe. The modern physics says that when we divide the thing more and more, we can reach the ultimate small particles. And they are molecule, atom, electron, quark, lepton, etc. Theoretically, a thing can be divided into an ultra-elementary particle, which is as small as minus 33 times of 10 meters. Quite alarming. It is said that when we go into the world of elementary particles, the concept of the classical physics set up by physicists like Newton disappears. And the area of physics is the world of non-common sense law, in which the creation and change of things can be understood by probability ratio. It is said that the elementary particles are made from the anti-material, act for some time, and disappear, but the present physicists on the earth do not have any scientific knowledge on this anti-material. I think that the anti-material can be explained with the two scientific hypotheses. One is that the anti-material is the bioenergy itself, which is the elementary resources of the universe and the basis of all the people's mind. And usually it is called 이기, 법신불, 공, 비로전화불, etc. The other is that there exists lots of higher dimensional world than the present third dimension of the earth, and those high-dimensional worlds are composed of the ultra-fast vibrating microscopic material, and I suppose that this material is just the anti-material. Anyway, when we consider all of the things in the universe, the visible things and the invisible high-dimensional world, and the residents living in that high dimension, are the existences which have been molded with the 이기. Therefore, when we think that the elementary 이기 is 공 and the visible things are 색, These things are the materialized existences which have been molded with the ego. When things disappear, they return to ego, and therefore all of the things in the universe have the same root of material of ego, and so all of the things are the same originally. Well, this phenomenon can be called 공죽색 and 색지공, where the next theme is the verification of the existence of the afterworld. Even though a person living in the modern times listens to the explanation concerning the existence of the afterworld, he or she finds it hard to understand it, for he is used to the scientific way of thinking due to his study of physics, mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, etc. Therefore, it is necessary to verify the logical appropriateness of the existence of the afterworld with the help of the parapsychology. Hypnotism. Theorem 1. All of the people have their pre-life. This is theorem 1. Verification 1. 기억. Here I means I am the hypnotism therapist. And after the hypnotism therapy, I say to A about his or her past life experience. He nods his head and says that it is exact. I say to B about the same fact. He answers affirmatively too. And etc., etc., etc. And lastly, I say to N, an uncertain person, I say to N, not a definite person, about the same fact, and N answers affirmatively too. Therefore, A, all the pieces of the past experience of the present life of A are recorded in A's astral body. B, all the pieces of the past experience of the present life of B are recorded in B's astral body too, etc., etc. N, all the pieces of the past experience of the person N are recorded in N's astral body. Now, verification 2. Again, verification 2. 기억. After the hypnotism therapy, I say to A about the facts concerning his pre-life. At this time, it is not the present life, but the pre-life. He says that even though he cannot be convinced of it, he feels it is nearly true. Neon, I say to B the same fact concerning his pre-life. He answers just in the same way. And etc., etc. And N, I say to N about the facts concerning his pre-life. Then N says just the same way. Here, when we add verification 1 to verification 2, we can have the following sentences. The present life, concerning the present life, the real pieces of experience of 70, 50, 30, 10, and 0 years old are true. All of them are true. And the next, the pre-life. The real pieces of experiences of 70, 50, 30, 10, 0 seem to be true. Not exactly true, but seem to be true. Okay? Well, here, 기억. If we say the experiences of my present life from 70 years old to 0 years old are all true, but those of my pre-life are all wrong. If I say like this, then it is logically inconsistent. Why is it that all of the experience of the present life is true, but suddenly all of those of the pre-life is not true. Quite inconsistent. Then Nyon, if I say that his experience of the present life from 70 to 0 years old is exact, but in the pre-life experience, if A is exact only from 70 to 60, and if B is exact only from 70 to 50, etc., etc., and N is exact from 70 to 20, for example, it is also logically wrong. Why is it that the experiences of all the people of the present life is true, but those of some people of the pre-life is true only from 70 to 60, and the other people from 70 to 50, or from 70 to 40, etc. From this Gyok and Nyon, therefore, the experience of the pre-life is all exact, like the present life as well. Theorem 2. All of the creatures in the natural surroundings live in the most appropriate environment for living. This theorem is quite natural and matter of course in a sense. Man can live only in the natural surroundings where there exists oxygen, the sunlight, water, food, proper temperature, etc. On the other hand, some bacteria can survive without oxygen and sunlight. Therefore, it cannot be said that all of the living creatures live in the same circumstances, but each living creature lives in its most appropriate environment. I said that man or woman has a pre-life, and if it is true, there should be a bridge or a medium step between the present world and the pre-life. And in accordance with the upper condition, the medium step should have a condition in which man can live nearly in the same way as the living of the present world. If there were no medium world, a person should probably live in the dark world or in the vacant space of the cosmos. However, instead of this, if we say that he probably lived in the environment which is nearly the same as that of the earth, it looks more natural and rational. And theorem 3, there should be a medium step of a resident place between the present life and the pre-life. We can think that the medium place might have nearly the same environment as that of the present life. As this medium step world is the place where our soul after death stays, it must be the world of non-material thought. Namely, the medium world is first the world in which people's souls stay, and it is the world of non-material. And second, the world of thought or mind. And third, it should be a world in which it should be a world which has nearly the same surroundings as that of the earth we live on. And that's the theorem 4. In the non-material world of thought or mind, the birds of a feather flock together trend. Again, the birds of a feather flock together trend is the prerequisite element. It is not difficult to think of this phenomenon. In the world of thought, if A does not like B, B knows this fact instantly. Contrarily, if A likes B, then B can know it at once. Therefore, in the afterworld, those who have the different level of spirit cannot live together. And the indispensable result is the flock together trend, birds of a flock together trend. Here, let's consider this fact on the point of the mathematical set, 집합 in Korean, mathematical set, with regard to A and B. From the small A, B, C, D, etc., etc., to the small n, it is ka. It is ka. And from the large A, B, C, D, etc., etc., to the large n, this group is na group. Here, the small A, B, C, D, etc., to the n, make a group composed of lots of different individuals. In other words, they are different from one another in religion, hobby, character, degree of intelligence, etc., but all of them belong to a set called ka. Let's suppose that this ka set is situated in the world over plus 10, over plus 10, for example, in which world only those whose spiritual level is over plus 10 can live. Contrarily, the large A, B, C, D, etc., etc., to n persons belong to the world called na, which is different from ga. Let's suppose that the common element of all of these large A, B, C, D individuals is that those in this world have the spiritual level lower than plus 10. Lower than plus 10. Here, if we say that the world of ka is the heaven and the world of na is the hell, both ka and na has nearly the same power. However, the direction of each power is opposite from each other, and as a result, we can think that both two worlds are in the state of the equilibrium. Theorem 5. In all the groups of humanity, there exists a representative head or boss. When there exists a sort of a law of correspondence or symmetry, there may be a boss or head in the groups of the afterworld too. That existence is the angel, and perhaps there exists some executive and representative high-level angels. And as a matter of fact, they are called the archangels. 대천사 in Korean, archangels. Theorem 6. In the human society, there exists the preliminary steps before any plan begins to be executed or performed. In the afterworld, there is also a preliminary world called the purgatory or the preliminary spiritual world. It is 정령계. It is not difficult to think of these two. When we construct any house or building, we do it after we prepare lots of things. When a person goes abroad to study, he or she checks his level of the language of that country, and when he finds that his fluency of the language is not satisfactory, he studies the language for 6 months or 1 year, and then he enters the normal course and studies the subjects. In all of the works in our societies, we usually prepare many things before we perform a certain work. If you want to understand the law of the afterworld, you need this sort of preliminary or preparing step, and that very step is 정령계. And as I said before, in Catholics, they call this word the purgatory.